Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. I am your host, Michael Weaver, and I am so excited about today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking, I'm going to be talking about the importance of clear and consistent processes. So before we get into this, if you are new to the Buzz, make sure you subscribe. If you like what you hear, make sure you give us a 5-star review. Tell your friends about us. But let's get into this. And so I want to start this episode off with a question for you. When it comes to processes in your business, in your agency, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to challenge you to go in and rank your business on the different processes that you have and where they would rank on that scale. So 1, or I guess 0 would be terrible. We don't have any processes at all. People just come in and do their thing. And 10, you're so systematic that literally it's like a McDonald's, for example. So it doesn't matter if you buy a cheeseburger in New York or you buy a cheeseburger in California, you're going to get the same cheeseburger every single time, regardless of what McDonald's you're at. And so that would be a 10. You're super systematic in a processes and systems based office. And so my question would be is, do you have processes in your office? Do you have processes in your office? So the sales conversation process, both the multi-line value-based conversation, the appointment conversation. How about team meetings? How about daily expectations? How about marketing? How about if somebody isn't doing their job? What does that process look like as far as write-ups? As far as 30-day, 60-day, 90-day action plans, what does that look like? And so that's really, really what I want you to think about right now. That's what we're going to be talking about today, is the importance of having clear and consistent processes that help you, the business owner, and help your team be as efficient and organized as possible so you can run at maximum capacity. All right, so why consistency is important? Number 1, so consistent processes that are in place that everyone knows, everyone does it the same way every single time, is going to provide clarity, not only with you, the business owner, not only within the business, but amongst your team. Clarity is key, because if people are confused in your business, if your team is confused, if you are confused, confusion is bad. All right. Confusion is no good in any business, but especially in a sales organization. And so clarity is really, really important, because clarity is going to be able to provide accountability. Because if everyone on your team, in your organization, knows exactly what to do in every situation, with every customer, every time, not only will you have accountability practices put in place, but your team can help hold your team accountable. Because if, for example, team member A hears team member B having a conversation and they cheat through the conversation, they don't do the process like it's supposed to be done, team member A can call team member B out and say, yo, team member B, what's going on? That does not sound like what we're supposed to be doing. Tell me a little bit about what just happened in that conversation. Or you, the business owner, or whoever the manager, the accountability manager is in the office, can have that conversation. Accountability is key in business, but to be able to hold your team accountable, to be able to hold yourself accountable, you have to know what's expected. You have to know what to do. They have to know what is expected. They have to know what to do. And so processes have to be consistent and they have to be communicated to where everyone has clarity on exactly how it's supposed to be done. All right. So that's really where I want to start this conversation. And we're going to talk about marketing, team meetings, sales processes, things like that. But the one thing I'm going to warn about, and this is feedback that I get all the time when it comes to processes, especially marketing and especially sales, is, and I get this feedback from team members, Michael, I feel like my agent tries something new every 6 weeks. I feel like they're always chasing a new process because it's working for an agent down the road or a friend across the state. They think we should try it. And they try it for 2 or 3 weeks. It either works or doesn't work, and then they get away from it. This causes confusion. This causes your team to question you as the business owner and leader in the office. Do not jump around from idea to idea, from process to process. Figure out what works and stick with it. You have to try. So here's a golden rule. If you're going to try something, you try it for a minimum of 90 days. 90 days minimum, and you go all in. You commit. You can't just half-ass it. You just can't try it for a week or two and then stop and expect to see results. That is one of the worst things you as the business owner and leader in your office can do. All right, so I want to just call that out right now. Because so many of us, hey, I've been there as a new business owner. I get it. Quit chasing the shiny little rocks. Quit chasing the magic bullets. Quit chasing the secret sauces. You know as well as I know, there is no such thing in our business or in anything in life. When you start trying to chase the easy money, you lose money. We all know that. There's come on. There is no quick fix to this. You have to figure out what works well for you, what works well for your agency, and you stick with it. You go all in, you commit. All right, so let's get into this. Whew, we're getting buzzed on the buzz today, my friends. So first of all, marketing. You need to have consistent marketing processes in your office. What are your new business acquisition strategies? What are your new business acquisition strategies? If I were to ask you, hey, what are your top 5 new business strategies? You better be able to tell me. Is it cold calling? Is it referrals? Is it getting out in the community? And not only that, what is the process behind it? So, if referrals is an acquisition strategy for new business, number 1, how often are you and your team asking for referrals? What's the expectation on a daily, weekly basis? What does that sound like? Are you doing anything outside of just the ask to drum up referrals? So here's what I'm talking about. You have to have consistent processes, because what I hear so many times, especially with referrals, oh, Michael, we want more referrals. Oh, how many times are you asking for referrals? Or what's your referral process look like? Well, no, I don't know. What does your process look like? Are you asking 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day? Or are you asking once a week and hoping that it works itself out? If you don't ask, the answer is always no. All right, so that's just an example. Cold calling, all right? If that's one of your acquisition strategies, how many quotes per day does everyone have to get? What's your non-negotiable, and how do they get there? How many calls do they need to make to accomplish their goal? Direct mail. Are you doing direct mail? Social media. What's your social media? So come up with acquisition strategies. Branding. How are you getting in front of people? How are you getting people to know who you are? And what's the processes behind that? And does everyone on the team know what those processes are? Especially if they're in charge of the processes. Do they know what's expected of them? Team meetings. Let's talk about team meetings. All right, so team meetings. Number one, how often a week are you meeting? That's a process. How often are you meeting a week? And I hope that answers daily. Because you need to be meeting with your team daily. Everyone needs to know what is going on in the business, in the agencies, what activities are being had, how close are we to our goals, what do we need to do. So that's just a side note, all right? But how often are you meeting? And then what do those team meetings look like? What is the structure of those team meetings? What are you, the agent, bringing to those meetings? What is the manager, if there's a manager, bringing to those meetings? What is the team bringing to those meetings? What is expected? How long do the team meetings last? What is on the agenda? Because if you just go into a team meeting, no structure, no organization, no agenda, people are showing up late, that is building a very, very slippery slope. Because if you're going to meet, you need to make sure the meeting is worth being at. The meeting is worth meeting. That it's adding value, that is purposeful. You just don't get together to say, yep, we had our team meeting today. No, you have to be intentional with that team meeting. Because as we all know, time is super valuable to everyone. And so what you don't want to happen is that you or your team feels like it's a waste of time. That is just something that we do. No, you have to have a set agenda. It has to be organized. It has to be structured. Everyone needs to know what they're bringing to the table and what's going to be discussed, how long it's going to be. Those are just general expectations. One-on-ones. Same thing. So we just talked about team meetings. Now how about one-on-ones? So, number one, how often are you meeting one-on-one? What's the one-on-one meeting look like? If you're the one holding the one-on-one meeting, what are you bringing to the table? How's it structured? How's it organized? How long is it going to last? And then the person you're having the meeting with, what are they expected to bring to those one-on-ones? See, these are all processes. These are all processes in your agency that if you don't have clear, concise processes in place that have been clearly communicated and clearly understood, they're like without clarity, without clear processes, everyone's running around like a chicken with its head cut off. They're just going throughout the days. They're just showing up to the team meetings. They're just going through the day. All of a sudden, 5 or 6 o'clock gets here. They don't feel productive. They don't feel efficient. They don't feel like they've accomplished anything. What happens when people don't feel productive, don't feel efficient, don't feel like they've accomplished anything? They start looking for a new job because they don't have any passion. They don't have any purpose. All of a sudden, a career turns into a 9-to-5 job. So you as the leader, you have to do your part. You have to set your business up for success. You have to set your team up for success. And it all starts with processes and systems. All right, so we covered what? Huddles, one-on-ones, however many team meetings. Make sure you have structure around these. Sales processes. One of the most important, in my opinion, process you can have in a sales organization. Look, you're an insurance agency, which means you are a sales organization. I know some people have the title of service or whatever, but at the end of the day, you own a sales organization. If you're listening to this right now and you work within an agency, you work in a sales organization. Without growing the book of business, that's not good. That means you're losing money. Like, you have to always be growing. You are a sales organization. So, sales processes. You better have some really good sales processes that are consistent and clearly communicated that you can hold your team accountable to. And here's the thing. You have to have, everyone on your team needs to be having the same conversation with every single customer every single time. This is going to allow you, the business owner or the manager in the office, to be able to hold the team accountable, because consistent conversations produce consistent results. Consistent results are going to provide the data you need to have as a business owner, as an agency owner, as an account manager, to be able to hold your team and your agency accountable to accomplishing your goals. Now, you've got multiple sales conversations in an agency. You have your multi-line value-based conversation. You have your appointment conversation. Then you have pivots that people are going to be held accountable to. So you have to make sure that this is documented, that everyone is trained, that you're practicing. So that's another thing. Let's talk about that. Training. What are you doing for training? What are you doing to develop yourself? What are you doing to develop your team? Your team is the biggest investment you make. You better be investing in them. Because if they're not growing and developing, they're going to get complacent. What happens when they get complacent? A career turns into a 9-to-5 because they're not feeling productive. So you always have to be investing in your team. Woo! I hope y'all are enjoying this today. All right, so we've hit on sales processes, team meetings. How about daily expectations? What activities is your team supposed to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What are your big 3 activities that are going to help you accomplish your goals every single year? What big 3 IPAs, income producing activities? All right, I love IPAs. I love the beer and I love the income producing activities. All right, so what big 3 are going to help you accomplish your big 3? So as an insurance agency owner, maybe you're focused on growing your auto, fire, and life. You're the 3 Kingsmen in an insurance business. Let's not complicate anything. Let's keep things super simple. To most insurance providers, especially captive insurance agents, auto, fire, life. Auto, fire, life. Auto, fire, life. So if you want to grow and write auto, fire, life, what big 3 activities should your team be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And does your team know this? Does your team know what's expected of them? Does your team understand what it takes to win every single day? This is really important from a leadership and agency owner standpoint. I think I've already talked about write-ups, or maybe I mentioned it. But if someone's not accomplishing goals, if someone's not accomplishing activities, what does the documentation process look like? What does that process look like to get them back on track? This needs to be a process. You are a business owner. I know paperwork's not fun. Look, I get that. Paperwork is not fun. So if you don't like doing paperwork, you better hire somebody to do it for you. All right? Well, so these are just the few things I wanted to talk about today. Look, and I could have talked about every process in an office as in an agency. But Marketing, really important. How are people finding out about you? Team meetings. How are you communicating to the team and each individual on your team? Sales processes. How are you writing business? How are you closing business? Is your team trained? Do you have a consistent process? Hey, and if you don't, I'd love to work with you. Contact us today. Weaver Sales Academy, man. We would love to work with you on this. Daily expectations. What activities are going to drive results? Does your team know what activities are going to drive results? Do they know what they're expected to do every single day? Or do they just go in with a blindfold every single day? We don't know what the target is. We don't know what to do, but we're just going to answer phones and service the book all day. And if we write some business, we write some business, but oh well, we'll just figure it out. If that's what's happening, you're setting yourself up for failure. Not only are you setting yourself up for failure, you are setting your team up for failure. You have to have processes and systems for everything in your agency, my friends. All right. Whoo! I hope you all enjoyed this today. Again, if you're new to the Buzz, welcome to the family. If you have not given us a 5-star review yet, please do so. Tell people about us. Share this with your peers. I absolutely love what I get to do every single day. If you have any questions about processes and systems, about, hey, what should I be doing here? Reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you. That's what we do at Weaver Sales Academy. We help agents and team members be more confident in their day-to-day basis, both personally and professionally. So we'd love to have a conversation with you there. But other than that, my friends, as you know this, time is the most valuable and important asset that we all have. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day-to-day and spending it with me. As always now, go out and make it great.